At the end of World War II, many of the previously Japanese acquired lands were given back to their respective government or they were given to the Allied powers. The Korean Peninsula was divided into two sovereign states at the 30th parallel. The Soviet-backed North Korea became a socialist state under communist rule by the leader Kim Il-sung. South Korea became a capitalist state led by the anti-communist president Syngman Rhee. Both nations had conflict with each other, believing that they were the sole legitimate government of Korea. The war began in 1950 when North Korean forces crossed into South Korea. The US-led counteroffensive kept the peninsula from being put under North Korean control. They were pushed back until China sent its military to back North Korea and US forces were back at the 30th parallel, which is where they finally signed an armistice. The agreement created the North Korean DMZ. No formal peace treaty has been signed and are technically still in a frozen conflict. After decades of mistrust, North Korea became an isolated state, only receiving aid from its closest allies, China and Russia. North Korea has violated many global nuclear agreements, including the UN Security Council's resolutions. In September 2017, North Korea conducted its 6th nuclear weapons test and is the most powerful to date. According to US intelligence estimates, they claim that North Korea has enough plutonium to produce at least 6 nuclear weapons and up to 60. Stop. But besides that, North Korean citizens are subject to government neglect. According to Human Rights Watch, North Korea actively enforces labor camps and keeps their detainees in deplorable conditions. Most detainees have been imprisoned for political reasons, and in most cases, their innocent families are also imprisoned due to their relation with them. Stop.
So now we're going to talk about some of the politicians here towards the U.S. in the present day. So one of the biggest threat to the U.S. today is mostly known as North Korea's ballistic missile program and their nuclear weapons program, which could lead to an all-out nuclear war if tensions escalate between both nations, which is the U.S. and North Korea. This would lead to a nuclear winter as well, which would kill most of the human population due to the contamination of natural resources found in North Korea and including Southeast Asia and here in the US, which mostly focuses on crop failure.
Thank you, Henry. Now let's talk about the past administration's foreign policy on North Korea, which have, for the most part, all failed. Clinton's policies, for example, were known as the carrot, oil aid. Lifting of sanctions provided DPRK with 500,000 tons of oil per year. They were also given a $4 billion aid to construct nuclear energy reactors, which would not produce weapons. And in exchange, North Korea would dismantle its nuclear weapons program, but not to close the Yongbyon complex. Bush's policies, which were a little bit different, they were known as the stick, which is punishing sanctions. They included a similar foreign policy with Iran, labeled both countries as an axis of evil. Trade aid with the food in exchange for suspension of building nuclear weapons. U.S. moving North Korea from the state-sponsored terrorist list. However, North Korea delivered. The U.S. continued to build its nuclear and ballistic weapons supply. Obama's policies were neither the carrot nor stick. They were composed of imposing the strategic patience, which is to wait out the isolated state. And the Obama administration also believed that North Korea would negotiate a plan to stop producing nuclear weapons. However, they continued to produce the nuclear weapons and pursue the program. This backfired in 2014 when North Korea launched a series of cyber attacks on the United States. Obama talked through this and said that the U.S. would not hesitate to use military force to protect the allies. The President Trump administration was a little bit different from Obama's. See, to begin, Trump began with his policy that he would be very aggressive and not be afraid to go to war with North Korea. But throughout his years in office, he changed this policy and began to focus more on being calm and So now jumping to the president. Once Trump became president, many believed that Trump would continue with his undiplomatic idea of relations with North Korea. But instead he did the opposite in opening diplomatic talks with them, and eventually settling with the Pyongyang Joint Declaration. This settlement between the two countries would calm down any tension by removing military training and weapons from near the DMZ, which is the border between North and South Korea. This agreement is very good for both countries, as the nuclear war between them would have resulted in millions of deaths. Anyways, I'd like to thank Henry.
Thanks, Gordon. So now we're gonna go on to include many of the other proposed compromises between the U.S. and so in conclusion, the Clinton administration's policies focused primarily on aiding nuclear energy reactors and cementing North Korea's weapons program. In relation to Bush's policies, which were primarily focused on using foreign policy to punish sanctions against North Korea, and Obama's policies, which put efforts to try and find a balance between China's diplomatic and showing the U.S. wasn't afraid to go to war against North Korea. Finally, Trump began to say that there would be no diplomatic resolution when running for president, but ended up making a mutual agreement during the summit.